Yeah, that's my kind of girl. Anakin.
The noises over there are scaring her to death.
Ready? Good.
She doesn't eat.
How are you? I love her shoes.
It's okay.
Oh, here comes another train into the station.
And you find two kids playing
You think you see them, Sierra?
I think Sierra sees someone really different.
Hello, this is Meredith
And this is Doug.
for This Place, here to discuss
This disgusting.
the accessibility of EnterTrainment Junction in West Chester Township.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Entertainment Junction, they have a large train setup. It kind of goes through the years of trains starting in 1800s, going into around 1970s, I guess.
Yeah, and it's actually the largest indoor train display. Is it in the Midwest, I think?
Yeah, I think so. It's really big, and it's really cool.
So we'll jump right in and talk about mobility accessibility. The good thing about Entertainment Junction, while most of the train displays are further up, there's a lot of cutouts, and because it is further up, you can see most of it just by looking up, even if you're using a wheelchair.
Yeah, the only issue you may have is that there's a few of the places where they have like little step stools or stepping areas for kids to get really close and hit buttons. So if you're a child that wants to hit one of the buttons and you're in a wheelchair, that can be a little awkward.
Also, you should know that this area is heavily themed. So when you're walking into the entrance, it is all cobblestone, and that could be a tripping hazard for some.
But on the plus side is that all the floors are on one level, so you don't have to go over bumps or anything like that to get from one room to another.
Except there is one little section that includes a display of Old Coney Island from Coney Island, Cincinnati. And there is an elevator up there, but it's one that requires an attendant to work. So you have to be patient and wait for an attendant to come and help you if you need an elevator.
Yeah, we maybe waited 5 minutes. It wasn't that long. But it was like they made the display upstairs and then remembered they needed an elevator.
Also, as part of Entertainment Junction, they have an area that's like a funhouse area that has a whole bunch of different mazes, and those mazes aren't really set up for large mobility equipment.
Some aren't set up for even smaller mobility equipment. We went through one that we walked in. It said turn right to get in and then turn left for the wheelchair bypass, and the wheelchair bypass just sent you to the exit.
Additionally, you should know that there is no door button to get in and out of this facility.
Yeah, and the doors are a little heavy, but as long as you have someone there to help you, you should be okay.
So wrapping up mobility, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the 4 too.
Moving on to blind or visually impaired. It is a visual experience, obviously. So if you are visually impaired, you might be able to enjoy some of it. But if you're completely blind, then there's not really a lot there for you to do.
They do have an audio tour that they rent out for like $4. But what we was told is that if you speak with somebody and let them know that you have a disability, they occasionally will give that out for free. And that way it'll kind of give you a heads up of what you're hearing, let you get a little description.
So to reiterate, there's no braille and nothing that you can really go in there and touch and feel what a model train display actually feels like. So for blind and visually impaired, I'd probably give it a 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, a 2. Only reason why I got a 2 is because it does have the audio tour.
So then deaf or hard of hearing, because it is a visual experience, I don't think you're going to have a lot of difficulty if your only disability is being deaf or hard of hearing. There are some buttons, though, that are located throughout the display, so you can hear sound effects for the display, and I'm going to let Doug tell you a bit more about those.
All right, so the buttons will let you like hear the whistles or hear coal trains, the sound of a coal mine. But the entire area is very loud already. It's got a lot of ambient noises. So it may be hard to distinguish what you just hit the button for.
So overall, I'd give deaf or hard of hearing a 4.
Yeah, it's definitely around the 4 area.
Moving on to sensory disability, as Doug just said, it is so noisy.
Yeah, the noise is so bad. We went there, and it was fairly slow. Like, there wasn't a lot of people, but it was still enough to overwhelm our youngest.
But on the plus side, it is relatively low light, so it's not really visually overstimulating, just auditory-wise.
Yeah, so, I mean, you should be fine if it's more like the flashing lights. There's not a lot of that going on.
So overall, I'd give sensory disability... Doug's thinking 3. I'm between a 2 or a 3.
Yeah. So like I said, or she just said that I said a 3.
So then there's medical concerns. You should know that there is no place to rent a wheelchair here that we could find. So you need to bring your own mobility equipment, and it's a rather large display. So if you cannot walk for more than 15-30 minutes, you definitely are going to need something.
There are 2 places where you could stop and rest. There's one that's like a little play area for kids. That's pretty close to the very beginning of it. And then the other place you can stop is almost towards the very end, where they have some seats that used to be in an old train station.
Also, speaking of that kids' play area. We forgot to mention earlier when we talked about mobility, there isn't really a lot to do there if your child cannot get out of a wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a little setup where they have trains, obviously, that you can hit a button and cause the train to go or make lights flash. So they have a smaller train setup inside that area, too. That's mostly the only thing you can do if you are stuck in the chair.
But getting back to medical concerns, they have a little cafe there. If you have food allergies, then we are told all you need to do is go up to the people working at the cafe, tell them what food allergies you have, and they have a book which they can reference to see if they can meet your food allergy.
Yeah, and the restaurant does close earlier than the place too. So if you plan on eating there, do it early. Don't plan on eating a dinner there.
So overall medical concerns, I'd give it a 3.
Yeah, 3. There wasn't much that they had.
Overall experience, I'd give the place a 3 with our youngest, probably a 4 with our oldest.
Yeah, I'd go to 4.5 for most people. It is a really fun experience to see at least once if you've never done it before.
So that's it for our review of EnterTrainment Junction. Next month, we are going to try to hit up the 5 major drive-thrus for light drive-thrus in our area, and we're going to do something a bit different and rank them for you.
I was really hoping it was the food drive-thrus, but, I mean, lights is fine, too.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye-bye.